Hi everybody, I want to talk to you today a little bit about, what happens if you die without an estate plan. I'm Michael Redden here at the Redden Law Office, and, well, we all know that, your estate plan might be a will, it might be a revocable living trust, those kind of things we've covered before. But what really does happen when you die without one? Well, if you die without any kind of estate plan, well, the first thing that kind of happens is, any of that stuff that's like, your life insurance that has a beneficiary. Well, that stuff, your family just has to take your death certificate and go apply and put in a claim, and they'll get those assets and things there. But what happens with everything else? Well, first, anything else that you own there that you owned at the time of death that doesn't have that stuff, that's going to go to probate. And, probate just does its process. It's that process where we're going to change the titles of that kind of stuff from your name into the name of the new folks. If you die without any kind of estate plan, you don't get to choose who your personal representative is, who that executor is that's going to do that kind of thing for you. The court's going to pick that for you. But that's really a topic that we'll go into more detail with at another time. But who really gets your stuff? It doesn't just go to anyone who wants it. There actually are laws about that. They're called the laws of intestate succession. And in Minnesota, typically we do it like a lot of states do. If you die, generally speaking, things are going to go to your spouse first, then your kids, and we'll go further and further out through parents, grandparents, uncles, aunts, all that good kind of thing. Quite a few ways. We're going to try our best to find someone who was your blood relative. We're going to go down that bloodline a very long way to find out where the stuff can go. But there are a few little things you might not expect in there for one. One of the big ones is what happens if you're married and you guys may have some kids together, but what happens if one of you has kids that weren't yours? Maybe they had it from a previous relationship or they had it from a previous marriage. That kind of complicates things in Minnesota. For one, the first thing that's going to happen is when that person passed away, that default where, everything's going to go to the spouse, that doesn't necessarily happen. So basically, if you were to pass away and you didn't have a will or estate plan there, in Minnesota, if your spouse had a previous relationship that had a kid or something like that in there, you're going to be able to get the first $225,000 of whatever they had. Then what's left over is going to be halved between you and the kids that weren't yours. The idea is we don't want to have those kids from the previous relationship to be left without any money. Maybe they're going to be destitute. Maybe they're going to need public assistance. We don't want that kind of thing public policy-wise. So you've got to split that with those children, and your children with their spouse would get whatever's left once you passed away and you handed it on. That's generally not what a lot of people want to happen, but that's what happens if you don't have any kind of plan there. And that's why, especially in our state, blended families, blended relationships, blended marriages are the ones that really have the surprises if you pass away and you haven't taken care of anything like that and done your estate plan. Everybody's worried about probate and things like that, but the biggest thing with passing away without that estate plan in place is that you don't really get to choose where it goes. For most of us, we've got that default. It's going to go somewhere down the family line. But families are complicated nowadays. They're not simple. Life's not simple. It's a little bit messy. And doesn't mean it's not beautiful. It doesn't mean it's not great. It just means that with that there, we had to do something with it. And you may not intend for some of those consequences. So if you want what your wish is to happen, if you want to protect the spouse, if you want to protect those kids that aren't yours in a better way, or those kids you have a previous relationship in a better way, then you really have to go and get those things taken care of and put it down in a will or a trust or something like that. So that's a question that's come up quite a bit lately, and I thought everybody would be interested in knowing how that happens, at least in Minnesota.